happen, could not get off the ground, could not be at all if it weren't for our generous sponsor, Paramount Petroleum, for today's event. And I would like to let you know that they've also provided a sponsor gift today on everybody's table. It's a tic-tac-toe game that you'll see it in the little velvet case. And I hope that you can take that on an airplane with you, because that's what I plan to do with it. So it's past the time. But my primary function here today is to kind of keep this program rolling along. It's always a lot of fun to hear from the leaders of the city, what's going on in Paramount. I think this is probably the most informative and one of the most fun events that we do all year. So thank you guys for all coming out, and obviously you appreciate the value of this event. So we thank you for the support at the Chamber. So I have to also recognize our centerpiece sponsor today, because the flowers on the tables are beautiful. And those were provided by the gas company, and our representative, Julia Emerson, is here today, Public Relations Affairs Manager. Thank you. Now, from the city of Paramount, I will introduce a few of the VIPs that we have here today, some of who will be speaking later. But leading off is Mayor Diane Martinez. Our Vice Mayor, Dr. Tom Hansen. Council Member Daryl Hoffmeyer. Council Member Jean Daniels. Council Member and Executive Director of the Paramount Chamber is Peggy Lemons. And our City Manager, Linda Benedetti Leal. From the Paramount Unified School District, we have Board President Alicia Anderson. Vice President of the school board is Tony Pena. We have board members Vivian Hansen, Linda Garcia, also board member Sonia Cuellar, and of course, Superintendent Herman Mendez. And now representing some of our local government officials from the Office of Supervisor Don Kanabi, we have Senior Deputy Steve Napolitano. Representing Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard is Kimberly Tachiki Chin. Representing Senator Lara is Julia Juarez. Representing Assemblyman Anthony Rendon is Ronald Gonzalez Lawrence. Lieutenant David Honor is here from the LA County Sheriff's Department. And from the LA County Fire Department is Battalion Chief Ron Cabrera. Okay, now we get into the Paramount Chamber. We're still going here. Representing the Executive Board of the Chamber, along with myself, is Senior Vice President Leonard Crespo from Total Western. Gary Johnson, Vice President, from Ace Clearwater, couldn't be with us today, but he sent Jen Perez here as a representative from Ace Clearwater, so thanks for coming. Our treasurer on the Paramount Chamber of Commerce Board is Dr. Max Martinez. And our past president is, of course, Brenda Olmos from Apple Care Medical Group. Also, other directors of the Chamber that are here with us today, Bill Kopelkoff from CalNet Services. Larry Valeriano from California Screw Products. Bill Winters from Paramount Petroleum. Paul Dennis from Weber Metals. Garo Kasarian from Alondra Hot Wings. and Kevin Lindsay from Lindsay Lumber. Now, finally, to our hardworking ambassadors who get this and all of our other events running and working so well. Along with me from Marocon Vinegar is our ambassador chair, Grace Padilla. And serving as vice chair this year is Deborah Jamison from Life's Gate Foursquare Church. Ashton Irwin from Total Western is here. Nina Brown from Paramount Petroleum. And Pamela Rice from Office Depot. All right, thank you for the warm applause there for everybody. We, at this time, are going to break for lunch, but before we do, I'm going to bring up Pastor Larry Jamison from Lifegate Foursquare Church to give us our invocation.
Great, it's good to be with you all again, and we're looking for a great time this morning. Let's bow in prayer today. Lord, we thank you today for your wonderful goodness, this great city that you've given to us to live in, work in, and just enjoy life. And Lord, this is a day we celebrate about what that the chamber puts on to let us know about what's happening in the city. And Lord, it's so good because of the businesses that are here that do so much of the work and provide so many jobs and provide for an ability to see this city increase. So we ask your blessing upon all the businesses. We ask it upon the staff, the city staff, and all the workers that are there, all of our city officials, and our police departments, fire departments. God, you take care of us so well, and we are so thankful for all that you've done. We ask that you bless us food to the nourishment, strengthening of our bodies, and that we'll have a great time just conversing with one another. In your precious name, Lord. Amen.
Just a few of the highlights of the past year. Our very, very popular Pulse Beat newspaper, which you are all familiar with, is continuing on strong, and we distributed 240,000 issues of that magazine, that newspaper last year. There were also 393 Welcome to Paramount packets filled with community information and where to shop, and these go to new businesses, new residents, new members, and they were hand-delivered to all the residents and businesses courtesy of our partnership with Emmanuel Reformed Church, so we appreciate that support. "250 entrepreneurs and business owners received free business consulting at our," I did say free business consulting, right? They want to always remind us, at our Business Resource Center, and about 100 more attended educational workshops that are provided there as well. We had close to 200 people in attendance at the quarterly networking breakfast that we do right here in this room. And we had 110,000 visits to the Paramount Chamber website. So it's a very active chamber. We put on a job fair, which I believe happens every March. We have one coming up next month. And recognize the community leaders every year at an annual installation luncheon and awards luncheon here in this room, which happens in June. We held other community events that we do, including the Paramount Chamber Carnival, the Community Fair, the Golf Classic, and the newly added poker tournament last year, which we'll be doing again this July. You don't want to miss that. Everybody had a great time. If you like us on Facebook, you'll see daily postings of chamber activities. And in fact, you'll be able to go on Facebook tomorrow and see photos from this event when you go on there tomorrow. So it's been my honor to be the president of this chamber. I've served on the board for a few years, and it's also been a lot of fun. And the chamber is really, really well run. It's led by, of course, Peggy and a wonderful staff that works very, very hard, Maria and Janita. And I could say, being a part of it for the short time that I have, I would say many people are involved and have been involved a lot longer. It really is a dedicated, committed group of people that serve on the board, both as directors and ambassadors, and from top, bottom, everywhere in between. It really is relies on that volunteerism and support for the community. So we hope that you will continue to support our efforts as we help grow the business community in Paramount. And With that, I need to bring up our next speaker who has a presentation for you. I will be bringing up Mr. Herman Mendez, Superintendent of Paramount Unified School District. Herman came to us just a couple of years ago. He's really filled the shoes of David Verdugo, Dr. Dave Verdugo, in a huge way. Brought some real enthusiasm and is doing some great things here in Paramount School Districts. He came to us from the Santa Ana Unified School District and had amazing success there and is continuing that success here in Paramount. One thing that you'll learn about Herman today, I think, is that he loves music and is a musician himself and is still a member of the La Mirada Symphony. So with that, I'll go ahead and bring up our Superintendent of Schools, Herman Mendez.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And again, great to see a lot of friendly faces here. Friendly faces, right? Before. And familiar faces too. But one of the things I said to you, Herman, is you got to bring the blood pressure down. So therefore, I wore my medical smocks. Because education these days is under fire, public education. But I'm here to tell you that, and to get your blood pressure down, education is in a very sound way, making headways, helping our kids, making this positive. So with that, and also to help you with the blood pressure, we invited our Paramount High School Choir to perform for you, because we know that music is a great tool to get your blood pressure down. Okay, so please welcome a big round of applause.
Somebody, don't you wanna hear the story of my life? One of them movie companies, TV documentaries. Won't you come and ask me, please, and pay me $1 million to tell you what I do at the store? 'Cause if you paid me $1 million, I wouldn't gotta go and do it no more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like the song says. Everybody doesn't know that song. Working for a living the whole day long. All the live long day. Hey somebody, won't you turn your head? Take a look my way. I'm getting old and I tell you, getting old ain't nothing new. Stuck again with you know. You are old pal Monday. You know the rain is shining show. It's back again. You are old pal Monday. And another cup of coffee gets the juices flowing. 1, 2, 3, get going. Just like the song say, all the live long day. Everybody doesn't know that song. Working for a living the whole day long. All the live long. Just like the song say now. All the live long day now. Just like California all the live long day. Everybody does know that song. Working for a living the whole day long. All the live long day.
Well, I can tell you, the reason we bring our kids is to remind us why we do what we do, and to also show you the potential that our kids have. This exemplary choir basically emulates what we see happening across all our schools in Paramount Unified. And you know, we have a moniker, a tagline that says, "Great things are happening in Paramount schools where we inspire great learning and great teaching." And this is a prime example of that. We also know that we cover other things, and I certainly don't have enough time to cover all the aspects of what we offer our students in Paramount Unified. But let me take a second to basically recap a few of the highlights that basically speak to great things happening in Paramount. You know, currently we are at the highest level of graduation rates we've had in many years, and feel free to applaud. Dropout rates are down. We continue to add students to the Gates Millennium Scholarship. We now have 18, and this is an exceptional group of students that, as you may be aware, and maybe not, they get a full ride all the way through a doctorate degree, everything paid for by the Gates Millennium Foundation. That's exceptional. 18 kids just from Paramount. Our schools continue to be recognized for the quality of their programs. We have 3 schools that have been designated as National Forum Schools to Watch middle schools. We have a 2014 California Model Continuation School in Buena Vista High School. We have 5 honor schools, honor roll schools that were recognized in 2013 by the California Business for Education Excellence Organization. So again, those things to be applauded. So please, big round of applause, because that's what you have here in Paramount. We have a lot of work to do, as you know, in education, and as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, part of our work is to inform people that public education isn't the hands of qualified people that are really continually, day in and day out, working hard to ensure that, again, we provide this country with the right citizenry. Not only to be involved as citizens through active participation in the community, but also to contribute to the workforce. We want to, in our graduates, to be prepared to enter college or a career. And we're preparing that through our focus on college and career preparedness. And as you business owners know, there are some elements of what you look for in employees. We've identified those in the Education Committee as the 4 C's, which are the skills of collaboration, being able to work with other people, the skills of creativity, the skills of communication, and the very important skill of critical thinking. A lot of the work that we're doing around what they call the Common Core. Raise your hand if you heard the term Common Core. I hope you have, because this is the big move across this country to really improve the rigor of instruction. And critical thinking is at the foundation of that. Information is everywhere. The internet. Anybody can go online to learn information, how to play an instrument, how to bake a cake. So teachers are not the sole repository of knowledge. Our job is to help kids think critically, to work together to problem solve, and all those things that I mentioned are the 4 C's. So today, I'm wearing my burgundy scrubs, and as I mentioned, there's another reason. What do you think? Is this a look for me? Very relaxed. But the point being is you may see kids from Paramount High School that daily walk to and fro the high school wearing these scrubs. And in case you ever wondered what that is about, I'm here to tell you a little bit about that. This is one of our pathways, and we'll hear a bit more about that. But we know that in CTE, College Technical Education Career, Technical Education, there are values to that approach to instruction. It engages kids, it involves them, lets them see the value of what they're doing on a day in, day out basis to really help them own their learning. We know that regarding personal motivation, students that are certified through a CTE program earn more money in their adult lives. Some of the stats indicate $4,000 to $19,000 per year per person over their lifetime. And this is over other types of degrees in school and in college. We know that CTE works really well for the economy because, as an example, in Connecticut, for every $1 in the state of Connecticut that's invested in kids going to college under a CTE aspect, they return money back into the economy. In that particular state area, $5 billion annually as an investment and return from investment. And we all recognize the term return for investment. We also know that in the business area, There's a high demand for lots of unfilled jobs that require talented and skilled people. The trades, for example, some of the hardest jobs to fill. We know that some things cannot be outsourced to other countries. So we've recognized that element of the work we do is important, equally important as going to college. Our Board of Education certainly has been very much at the forefront to recognize that many years ago. And certainly in Paramount, we have a strong business community that relies on a workforce. So we're looking to provide you that talent pool that you can draw from. Health occupations, again, as I mentioned, I'm wearing one of the scrubs that our kids work on, the medical heavy. But the health education profession is also another area that continues to grow. I guess we're not as healthy as we could be, so we're always going to continue to need medical support. Well, that's a quick overview, but let me drill down a bit more to some of the details about the academy pathways we have here. So, we currently have 3 pathways: engineering, medical, and media. And these are part of the industry sectors that we're working to support. All 3 pathways have been vetted out and prepared to ensure that, again, there's a job at the end of the road here. So when we talk about what does the job market require, we know these are things that our students will be able to procure employment and build on that. Think about the medical pathway. There's so many opportunities within a continuum from working in a front office all the way to becoming a doctor. So there's an opportunity for kids to really take that pathway and extend it far beyond what we provide here through college and other opportunities. In just about 5 years when we began the programs, the career technical education, or the CTE pathways, have grown from only a couple hundred kids to now to about 2,000. So again, that's why you see so many kids walking down the road here on Downey with these smocks, because they're an element of these kids that we now have to basically consider how to meet the demand. There's such a great interest by our kids in this that we struggle to ensure that. We are currently looking to build a 4th pathway. We'll talk a bit more about that later. So let's talk about the engineering pathway right now. Okay. So the pathways are made up of a sequence of courses that begin at the 9th grade and help prepare the kids all the way through 12th grade. In the case of the engineering pathway, you see some of the elements of the curriculum: Introduction to Engineering by Design, Principles of Engineering, Computer Integrated Technology, Manufacturing, CAD, which is Computer-Aided Drafting and Design, and Architectural Design. As you came in the front table, you might have seen a number of these types of artifacts. These are the kinds of products that kids are creating using the technology that's available at our high school with the software and the 3D printers that are there. There's a great example of how they apply this in what is called the Solar Cup Challenge, which every year occurs over at Lake Skinner in Temecula, where our kids work to design a solar-powered boat that they then run and compete in competition with other schools in the Southern California area. We continue to garner success in that, but more importantly, as far as the recognitions and awards, but more importantly, the enthusiasm the kids have is just palpable. The kids jump into this whole hog and continually benefit by learning those more rigorous skills you see that. So when you make learning fun, kids are vested in moving ahead and doing that. In this particular slide, we see a student testing a product that he created on the 3D printer, and I happen to have a copy of that particular artifact here. Okay. We also have partnerships, and in fact, we recognize that we have a great partner in Cal Poly Pomona. The university provides training for our staff, which in turn benefits our kids as they apply those particular skills in the classroom. And recently, we just began a partnership with Gary Johnson over at who's the vice president of ACE Clearwater. And Jan Bettis, where are you? She's over there. She came down as a representative, but we'll give you working to provide a partnership through our district and ACE Clearwater to help our kids work on learning how and what happens in the real world over at ACE Clearwater. So very thankful about that. So between partnerships with the universities and the local businesses, and by the way, if you have an interest in this, we're more than happy to talk to you about how you can help us out in this endeavor. But this is an example here as we see a student working to take what is created on the computer and beginning to print it on the 3D milling machine. The second pathway is our media program, and the courses that surround this program are related to an introduction to the courses of media and design, graphic design, film and video, advanced video graphic designs. Many of our kids that are in this program apply those skills through their weekly presentations at the school through the Pirate Radio program, which is a broadcast that occurs at the high school, and they also work with us in providing presentations related to the district. Matter of fact, today, way in the back, that we've got 3 of our kids that are from the high school co-filming with Mr. Ron Roberson the event today. So again, they're learning from Master, and as I understand, Ron is an award-winning videographer and journalist. So thank you, Ron, for helping us out, and more importantly, for working with our kids. A couple of examples of how we work together. Again, if you look at the design here, we find kids that are garnering awards and recognition for the work they're doing. This particular photo happened to show kids designing sneakers and designs. You know, in the old days, sneakers were all probably all white. But nowadays, there's a huge market for applying creativity and the merging of the arts and design to create products that are much more interesting for the consumer. But partnerships are part of the work. Another partnership for the Media Academy is working with Cerritos College, where our students are going to be working with the college to help the department there create websites for their departments. So it's part of the work we have going on with the Cerritos College Media, and we're thankful that, again, we find a great partner in the college through Sue Parsons, who's in charge of the educational partnerships and programs with the surrounding community. We're also beginning conversations with Paramount Publishing Company, and Vero Torres will be looking to provide opportunities for our kids, again, internships where, again, kids can apply all that great learning that they have going on. The medical pathway courses, again, as I mentioned before, they provide a sequence of courses beginning in 9th grade all the way to 12th grade, and we have introduction to medical terminology, technology, foundations, explorations, and more importantly, the application of these knowledge and skills through internships. One of the things that kids do is they learn to take blood and become phlebotomist. Oh, and I see you're probably laughing. If you do notice, these are twins. It's not some medical cloning experiment. They really are twins, and as you can see, the professional on the right there is providing some great quality medical attention because the patient is still smiling. But it's an example, again, of how we begin to work with the kids. And if you haven't had a chance to visit Paramount High School and see the state-of-the-art facility there, you'll be very impressed. And Dr. Buckner, you want to wave? He's open to providing tours so you can see exactly where your dollars are going to. Continuing, we talk about students receiving these marketable skills beyond simply content knowledge. Front back office skills, medical terminology, practical skills like CPR, first aid, and EKG work, so they know how to read those and take those assessments, if you will, phlebotomy. And again, we've had a number of our kids that have benefited through internships across the community here. As a good example, a highlight would be that one of our students, Talia Hernandez, another Gates Millennium winner earlier years, while attending UC Irvine, was asked to be involved in a research study with a pediatric urologist because of her experience here in Paramount Unified. So again, we find that other people find value in the skills and the training we provide for our kids. With that, I thought it'd be important, again, as we began the presentation, by you seeing the kids and the quality of kids we have here in Paramount. And I have to tell you, I visit the schools frequently, and you guys have great kids. We have great kids here. It makes us very proud. They're committed to their learning. They're vested in doing the best they can. They're respectful. They're attentive. And again, I know that Dr. Buckner and Maura Kosroff at the high schools work very hard along with staff to ensure that they have a good climate that supports that positive tone. With that, I want you to hear some voices of the kids that are on these academies to hear what they have to say.
I'm Regina Fuerte. I'm a senior at Paramount High School, and I'm in the Health Career Academy. And through this pathway, I have discovered who I am and who I want to be in the future.
My name is Alvaro Flores, and I really like that there's like so much to learn in the medical field.
Hi, my name is Diamond Outlaw. I've been in this Health Career Academy for 3 years now. The reason why I joined this program is to open my options up to a wider variety of different things that I can learn after high school. This medical academy has taught me so many things. I never thought that a program can offer me so much help, so this program has really helped me a lot through anything, actually.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Acosta. I always like to draw, like to build stuff. It's just easy because I like doing it. I really do like working on CAD because you get to build like these things, and you can design whatever you want.
My name is Juan Jimenez. I've been doing the engineering pathway since freshman year, and my favorite part about it is just getting to know the new teachers and and building the houses and using the computers and softwares.
My name is Elena Robles. I'm in the engineering pathway. My favorite part about the engineering is programming and designing new stuff.
My name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm in the engineering pathway. I started since junior year, and my favorite part is building stuff and machines. Monica has a company of engineering, so I go help them out.
My name is Eric Carrera. I started the CT pathway in 9th grade, and my favorite part is just that it's so hands-on that you actually get to experience everything.
So again, we couldn't bring the kids, so we brought them to you. But I do want to close by thanking the school board, because I know that without their vision and recognizing and really truly loving the kids here in Paramount and wanting to have excellence for them as they deserve, as they rightly so do, that we wouldn't have this. The staff works very hard, but we work to execute the vision of the school board, and I want to ask you to please thank them with a round of applause, because without their leadership, we wouldn't be here. In closing, I want to just say we couldn't give you all a little gift, but we had our kids print some little 3D key tags. So if you look to the left of your chair, there's a little orange dot. If you happen to have one of those little orange dots, as you exit today, stop by our opening table there, and you can pick up a little gift, which is a little copy of a 3D printed key tag that the kids created just for you guys, just special for you. Did you find it? Okay. So bring the little tag with you as you exit. That's your proof that you are the legitimate winner of that tag, so bring your orange tag. But I want to thank you again in closing for the opportunity to share the great things that are happening in Paramount Schools, where we inspire great learning through great teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. That was wonderful. It's always very interesting to hear about what the students in Paramount are doing. So thank you for that. Next, I'll be bringing up Mayor Diane Martinez, and she will be bringing up City Manager Linda Benedetti Leal to give kind of the meat of the State of the City address. Diane Martinez is a lifelong resident, a true lifelong resident of Paramount. She's been a member of the City Council since 1994. That puts her in her 5th term serving as the city's mayor. And although she has served this community as a trusted leader on many leadership positions and roles in the city, her background is in education. And you talking with her and getting to know her, you can always see that that's really her first love. She's been a full-time elementary school teacher since 1985. And she served also as an acting principal, vice principal, reading specialist, and really just a great all-around educator. She's also a longtime member of Our Lady of Rosary Church in Paramount. So with that, I'd like to bring up, please welcome Mayor Diane Martinez.
Thank you. It's so enlightening to see so many of our high school students present at the State of the City. And once again, Paramount High School has shared their talent with us. Thank you so much, Herman, for inviting them. Also in the house is my alma mater, St. Pius X, St. Matthias. We have 2 high school students that are present. Would you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you so much. So many times people state that our youth are our leaders of tomorrow, but I disagree with that. They are our leaders of today. They can and are making a difference in this world. It's always encouraging to see such a healthy turnout for our State of the City presentation. Your interest in Paramount and your engagement in the community are very much appreciated. Our City Manager, Linda Benedetti Leal, will give you a full picture of the State of the City in a minute. But first, let me just say that things are good in Paramount. Crime continues its long-term decline. The statistics are at levels not seen since the 1960s and 70s, which is remarkable when you consider that our population has almost doubled over that time. Paramount is a very, very well-run city. You know what, I'm going to turn off this slide because it's getting a glare. We're proud that we provide important services and programs for our residents and have created a business-friendly atmosphere for commerce to flourish. But there have definitely been extreme challenges over the last few years, and these challenges persist as we face the future. Still, with teamwork and positive action, we will remain strong and moving in the right direction. In the meantime, I want to thank you for your ongoing support of both the city and the Chamber of Commerce. May our Lord continue to bless our city, and may He continue to bless each and every one of you. At this time, it is my honor to introduce our brilliant, outstanding, intelligent city manager, Linda Benedetti Leal.
Old-fashioned and use this mic. Herman, having the choir here was amazing, and that was wonderful. I made me think, though, I have a chamber orchestra back in my office, but I forgot to bring them, so darn. It is a pleasure, of course, to be here this afternoon to talk to you about what's going on in the city. Things are really starting to pick up for us after, as Diane alluded to, some pretty tough years. So I have a pretty full menu of items to share with you today, and I'm sure there'll be something there to your liking. Now, as many of you know, for about 25 years now, the city has been trying to bring in a nationally recognized sit-down restaurant into the city, and I'll be talking about that a little later in the presentation. But we are very, very close to making this long-time goal a reality, and since we're so close, I'm just going to pretend that you're all sitting at tables in the Coming Your Way Cafe, because it'll be here soon. My name is Linda. I will be your server today. This is the magic of Photoshop. That is not my body. I should point out, if you are ordering the souffle today, there's a 24-minute wait. Well, maybe a 48-minute wait. But what can you really do in 24 minutes? Well, believe it or not, you can fight crime. Now, Paramount is the first city in the region to experiment with a sophisticated software program that predicts where crime will occur. Now, this program is called PredPol, and it maps out where crime is most likely to occur within the next 10 hours. So we give these PredPol maps to our deputies at the start of their shifts, and we ask them to spend 24 minutes out of their 10-hour shift in one of these areas, and we call this 24 minutes in the box. Now, we started using these maps in October, so it's still pretty new, but we do have some information to share. We did a predictive accuracy analysis, and indeed, crimes were 12 times more likely to occur in these PredPol boxes than any other given location in the city. So as a tool for allocating our patrol resources, it's a very, very useful program. Now, overall last year, our crime continued its 2-decade downward trend. Compared to 2013, our property crimes were down across the board, and violent felony crimes were also down. So as Diane mentioned, these are at historic lows, 60s and 70s. I know it doesn't feel like that when you watch TV, but crime is definitely down actually across all of Los Angeles County. Now, as most of you know, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department provides law enforcement services for us. They're under new management. They have a celebrated new 5-star chef, and he's known far and wide for his corned beef and cabbage. Actually, Sheriff Jim McDonald was elected sheriff last year, and he served for many, many years at LAPD under Chief Bratton. He was chief of police for the city of Long Beach prior to being elected sheriff of LA County. If you've ever met him, it's very apparent that he comes with a wealth of experience. He's a great guy, and we're really looking forward to good things from him. Now, you may have noticed by now that no one has brought any water to your table. Actually, they have, but this is because there are new restrictions that were imposed by the state to deal with the drought. Now, these restrictions, which are still in effect, and they are in effect here in Paramount, they include prescribed watering days. We have some prohibitions against water runoff, and of course, restaurants are not supposed to be bringing water to your table unless requested by a customer. Now, the City Council recognizes locally the importance of water conservation, and they have approved a pilot lawn to garden program, which we're sort of in the very, very first stages of rolling out. As envisioned, the city would provide landscape architects to assist home and business owners alike, so it would also apply to you, to replace their lawns with more water-friendly plants and hardscape accents. Now, after we get a few test gardens under our belt, the council will finalize the guidelines for this program and will roll it out to the community. We do continue to take steps to ensure a stable water supply for Paramount that is not dependent on water that's from an imported source. Now, this is important, not only for cost containment purposes, but also because there's really no guarantee that this imported water will remain readily available to us. About a month ago, the Metropolitan Water District announced that based on their current allocations of water from the State Department of Water Resources, they themselves may be dipping into their water reserves or reducing deliveries to customers. And so, as you can imagine, in the area of water, it's very critical to plan for sustainability over the long term. And there are some species that do a far better job of this than humans do, but for the past several years, the City Council has really been aggressively pursuing much needed infrastructure improvements to our water utility. Now, in 2014, we had our first full year of production with our newest well. We had very good results. We were able to pump 91% of our daily demand, and that was up from our historic 74%. So we really did reduce the amount of water we had to buy. That resulted in an operations savings of over $400,000. These savings, again, allow us then to address infrastructure needs, which are not cheap, with far less impact on customer rates. Now, just last month, the council approved the drilling of a new well at Garfield and Jackson. This project was originally going to be a joint well project with this Long Beach water utility, but that arrangement got derailed when the state dissolved redevelopment. So we're now going to be the sole developers and owners of this well, and the first phase will be built with bond proceeds left over from the former redevelopment agency. So since you can't have a glass of water, I'm going to suggest a cocktail instead, but don't drink too many or you'll start seeing things or having visions. Oh my God, is that John Tankledge in my martini? And speaking of visions, last November we held the first ever community visioning exercise to get input from our residents on their needs, desires, and hopes for the city for the future. We met for 3 hours on a Saturday. We had a very fruitful discussion. It'll probably come as no surprise that one of the key themes that arose was increasing the city's use of social media to communicate information to stakeholders and residents. Greater shopping and dining opportunities were also very important, and folks want a farmer's market. So we've got a lot of work to do still ahead. Oh, I've heard a over there. Somebody wants a farmer's market. So if you care for an appetizer, we actually have some new apps for you. This is a very bad pun, but it's the only way I could get this in here. Now, the first app is a very useful tool that we've developed called Paramount Works. This is an app that can be downloaded to your smartphone, and it allows you to make a request for service on the spot if you see something around town that needs to be done. You can write it down, or you can just take a picture of it and just mail it over to us. You don't need to include an address since the program will register the GPS coordinates on its own. Here's a list of things that you can report. You can download the app right now if you want. You just go to the App Store on either your Android or your iPhone. Once inside, you search for Paramount Works. And when you find it, it's free, so you just have to click on the install button to download it. If you don't have a smartphone, this is for you, Mr. Daniels, you can also access Paramount Works on the city's website. We also rolled out an app related to our Santa train. Now, it's one of the city's most cherished traditions that in December, Santa travels throughout the city to give out apples and candy canes to the kids. And we can never really predict the arrival times of the train at any given spot, so people tend to line up very early, and they can wait very, very long time for this train to show up. So to help folks manage their time, we launched an app that allowed them to follow the progress of the train in real time so that they could tell when it was getting near their stop. Now, this was so popular that on the first day we had 64,000 hits, and that totally crashed our website. But we were able to make an adjustment very quickly, and we were able to handle the volume for the rest of the run. Now, some other forays into social media also included a city YouTube page. You can go on YouTube now, you can type in City of Paramount and see a host of videos of city events and presentations, including this one. And we also have a Facebook page for PEP, for our scholarship program, so that the students can stay in touch with each other, and you can go on and see everything that PEP does. Now, we'll be diving into Twitter, Instagram, God knows what else, soon, so that's coming up, so stay tuned for that. So now we're at the main course, and this would be our upcoming commercial developments. Now, when the state abolished redevelopment agencies in 2012, all of our RDA-owned properties were basically just shut down. And before we could do anything with them, we had to submit a property management plan to the state of California for approval. I'm happy to say that we convinced the state to give us control over all of our properties. We weren't forced to sell anything. We weren't forced to turn anything over to another agency. And some other former RDAs did have to do that. Now, there is a particular staff member I'd like to acknowledge for that result. John Carver, can you raise your hand, John? John is our Assistant Community Development Director, and he was the brains behind our property management plan, and he really did a great job and saved our properties for us. So once the properties were freed up, the City Council retained 2 development firms for some very, very specific purposes, and these are bringing dining choices into town. Now, at Alondra and Downey, there will be a small development with some food tenants. Now, one will most likely be a new coffee shop bakery concept that has locations in South Pasadena, Hollywood, and Santa Monica. It's called La Monarca, and it's sort of a hipster-themed Latino Starbucks/Portos concept. And we think it'll fit really well in the community. It's run by some kids out of Stanford, and it's doing well wherever it has opened. Now, there's also been a very long-term desire from the community to have a nationally recognized sit-down restaurant in town, and our goal is to provide that at Paramount and Alondra. Now, there will be other eateries at this site as well, and we hope it will become a gathering spot for folks, much like the Pond is, further south down the boulevard. Now, this is just a conceptual rendering of the project, but you can see it's going to incorporate outdoor dining and a much more synergistic relationship to the street. This, we hope, will be the northern end cap of a newly constructed downtown strip from Alondra Boulevard to Jackson. We're working with some urban architects. They're called Studio 111. They're a very well-known group to completely redo this quarter-mile strip of our downtown. And our goal is to create a more pedestrian-friendly downtown that also unifies the shopping centers on either side of the street. Now, we're looking at a fairly radical remodel of the downtown strip, and with luck, that'll be underway later this year and into next year. So, if you're watching your weight, let's see, we offer a low-cal plate. We're particularly interested in fitness here in Paramount, and last year we added to our already large circuit of outdoor gyms by installing 2 new ones. One's at Paramount Park, and that's heavily utilized by our seniors because we have a senior center at that park, and one at the north end at All-American Park. We also have an annual fitness fair. We used to have a fair called the Safe and Smart Fair, and we changed that up a bit this year to add Arts, Smarts, and Healthy Hearts Fair, which most of the kids called the Farts Fair. So we're probably going to change the name again. But we did add a 5K run, and we got 550 kids out running, so that was a real success. And lastly, we are repurposing a very old and very small swimming pool in a neighborhood at the west end of town. Now, this pool will be converted to a popular splash zone, and it's going to contain 10 colorful recirculating water features, and the kids will be able to run around and get wet down on hot summer days. This is slated to be up and running by this summer. Now, here's just, here's some of the other elements you'll see at the splash zone. Now, a little something sweet for dessert. Looks like, whoa. bananas flambe. Oh well. Here's some kids who participate in our after-school STAR program. A few years back, we planted a garden at one of the schools, which the kids have been tending for some time now, and here they are literally harvesting the fruits of their labors. We planted a banana tree. So now we come, of course, to the inevitable conclusion of every meal, and I think it's fair to say that the state of California has pretty much dined and dashed and really has left local agencies footing the bill. Since the 1960s, tax increment financing from our redevelopment agency was the single largest funding source for all of the growth and improvement that Paramount has enjoyed over the decades. Now, when the state of California abolished redevelopment agencies in 2012, it did have a dramatic effect on us, and it created about a $6 million hole in our annual budget. Now, we responded by finding every possible efficiency we could in operations, including, at the end of the day, a pretty dramatic 27% reduction in our workforce. Now, all of this happened, of course, at the same time that the nation was going through one of the worst recessions in history. So it really was quite a juggling act for us to adjust to this new fiscal reality. And I'm proud to say we did that without any major cuts to city services or programs. However, at this time, if we really want to continue the tremendous progress that has been the hallmark of Paramount over the last 2 decades, the city is in need of an adequate, reliable funding source that is locally controlled and cannot be taken by Sacramento. And for that reason, we have placed Measure P on the upcoming, on the upcoming March ballot. Now, the city has a utility users tax that's been in place since 1993. It applies to telephone, gas, and electricity. Measure P will modernize that ordinance to cover really vast changes in telecommunications since 1993 so that the UUT is applied fairly across all technologies. It will also adjust the tax from 3% to 5.5%, which we hope most voters will consider a modest investment for major benefits. Measure P will allow us to retain our after-school education programs, which we currently run in every K-8 school in the city. It will keep our law enforcement deployment levels where they need to be, and it will keep our capital improvement and infrastructure programs going as well. Now, for large consumers of gas and electricity, I know some of you have industrial businesses, the city's current UUT has an annual cap of $100,000, which Measure P will retain. We will be holding a town hall meeting here at Progress Plaza on Thursday evening, February 19th, regarding Measure P, so I invite you to attend if you would like any more information on that, or you can also visit our website, and we have quite a bit of information about the measure there as well. Well, that pretty much wraps up my presentation, and we really hope to see you soon at one of our new eateries in town, and I know the council will be very happy to serve you. So thank you very much.
Is it okay? That one needs to go off, probably. Okay. Well, just real quick here, is this on? This is working. Okay. Real quick, we'll just wrap everything up here, but a couple more last thank yous to our event sponsor today, Paramount Petroleum, and Frank Mitchell, who I missed earlier, is here representing. Let's thank them. Give them a big round of applause for their support. I also want to remind you that the next chamber events coming up will be the job fair on March 14th, followed by in April on the 13th, that's a Monday, our golf classic at Friendly Hills Country Club in Whittier. As for the centerpieces, which were generously donated by the gas company, we want to award those to the person at the table whose birthday is closest to today. And with that, we'll see you next year.